Star Wars: The Clone Wars, a show beloved by many, from old to young, thankfully returned for a final season in 2020, a year that wasn't the best, but Star Wars came through with the final season concluding the epic saga. Now, this leaves us, as Star Wars fans, thinking about the characters. There's so many characters in this show, but in today's video we're going to be specifically speaking about the villains. Now, in this video we're talking about 5 villains that we need backstories for. Now, these backstories could come in the form as a movie, show, book, comic, any form, and this will be for villains, so bounty hunters are not included. Just villains, so for example, Grievous is a villain, Maul is a villain. These characters have backstories, well, not Grievous, but he's not going to be in this video because he's too obvious. But let's get into the list. This list is in no particular order, but we're going to start off with Admiral Trench, the formidable separatist admiral who was first introduced in Season 2 episode Cat and Mouse, which is actually the first episode if you look at the series chronologically, because Clone Wars is an anthology series. This episode is meant to be the first episode in the timeline. Now, we're introduced to Trench as a person who's believed dead, so if we were to get a backstory, I'd like to see how his supposed death was to become, and also like to see how he gained his reputation. As you can see, he strikes fear into the heart of Admiral Wolf Yularen, who's a Republic admiral who seems very worried when he works out that Trench is in charge. Approaches they could take for giving us a Trench backstory could be in the form of a book trilogy, similar to the Thrawn trilogy, the more recent one that is canon, as Trench is similar to Thrawn in that he cares about tactics. He's a war tactician and not a fighter. He doesn't use hand-to-hand combat or weapons. He takes charge of ships and different types of battle plans. This approach makes the most logical sense to me, as I don't think a show or movie about a war tactician would get that much views in a mainstream franchise such as Star Wars. Sticking to the theme of separatist generals, we've got Riff Tamson, the aquatic separatist general who looks a lot like a shark and is a pretty cool character, but didn't have much backstory due to the fact that he was only in 4 episodes of the series. And the 4 episodes he was in were the opening 4 of season 4 in the story arc based around Mon Cala. He was leading the separatists, the Quarren, against the forces of Admiral Akbar and the other Mon Calamari, and it was a pretty cool arc, but the arc ended in him losing his life. But we didn't get to see him in action, but I think he'd be a cool character to explore, especially since there's not really a Star Wars mainstream piece of media that's set underwater, so this would be something new and inventive for them to do. Now, this I think would work best as a comic, but also as a show. A comic or show, they could go either way. It's just, if a show, they'd have to animate different things, but I'd love to see him fighting against the Republic and more scuba clones. Hopefully you get to see Commander Monk again, and I just think he'd be a cool character to add more depth to in the Star Wars universe. The next character we're going to speak about is not necessarily a villain, but it's Mother Talzin, the leader of the Night Sisters, who is one of my favourite characters. Her voice is just so scary, and her character is just a really good character, and I definitely think we need a backstory for her. Now, this character would work as a show, most like that would be good, but a movie would work, but it's unlikely, so that's why I've put show as the main thing. Now, she has a history with Palpatine, so she'll be able to tie into main media Star Wars, and we'd also get to see more Night Sisters in action, hopefully see them at their full force before their practical extinction. This show could date back years, or it could be closer. I'm hoping they go further, as far back as possible, so that they can do a long show with lots of seasons, like 5+ seasons, just so we can get to see as much of this character as possible. And I think when you add a backstory to a character, it makes rewatching the original show that they come from, Clone Wars in this case, more enjoyable. And this would be a show that I think a lot of people would like, and it'd be something unique, as we don't get shows. Usually when we get shows about they're about Jedis or whatever, but this would be something unique, as it's about a Night Sister who's sort of different powers, and whatever you want to describe them, their force usage to the Jedi, they're very different. They don't quite fall under the villain category, but they're somewhere around there. sort of cross the lines of what's right and what's wrong. So next up we've got a former Jedi being Pong Krell. Now, Pong Krell was a Jedi General in the Clone Wars. He stars in the Umbara arc, and they talk in the Umbara arc about how he's a well-respected general who has one of the best, like, sort of ratings out of all the generals and stuff. So I'd like to see that in a Pong Krell animated show. I think a show would be the best way to represent, and probably the only way to represent, this character. And I want them to show how he slowly diverges towards the dark side, showing his sort of path and how he always hates clones, and showing his sort of character development. Maybe have flashbacks showing him as a young, kind-hearted Jedi, or maybe he was always a bad apple, and maybe he got treated badly on his home planet, and that's when he joined the Jedi Order. He just thought certain lives don't matter. He's got sort of this approach, and I think, to life, and I think that would be key to portraying his character as sort of like a bad guy that's not likeable, but you can star a show around a character that's not likeable. It just has to be done well. It would be hard to pull off, but if they do it right, then it could be one of the best animated Star Wars shows of all time. I would say that if they were going to make this, they'd release it 2024, 2020 to 2026. And finally, we've got Pre Vizsla, the Mandalorian Super Commando voiced by Jon Favreau, part of the prestigious clan Vizsla, probably the most famous clan in all of Mandalorian history. We need to get backstory for this guy, show his time in exile, show his time as a politician. Just give us more Pre Vizsla, show him in action. You can get to see him using the Darksaber, how he got his hands on the Darksaber, his father and his father before him, everyone in the Vizsla clan. Give us an insight, his interactions with Bo-Katan and her sister, and his interactions with Jedi in the past. I just love to see Pre Vizsla, sort of Mandalorian animated series set in the Clone Wars, set before the Clone Wars in fact, in sort of this time of galactic unrest, when you know something's coming but the Jedi just don't realise that, because they're just not in, like, they don't understand that things are brewing up, and show Vizsla's impact in sort of the underground scene, sort of this leader of Death Watch, rallying on Mandalorian, show what he means to those fellow Death Watch members. So those are my 5 Star Wars The Clone Wars villains that I think we need to get backstories for. Give me your 5 in the comments below and tell me who you think we will get backstories for in the next 5 years. And also, if you're new around here, then please subscribe. We're trying to hit 200 subscribers as soon as possible. We're currently at 178. And check out some of our other Star Wars videos. We talk about various different eras of Star Wars, but primarily this shows, as there hasn't been any new movies in a while. But we do talk about other things other than Star Wars, so if you're interested in any of that, then check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next video that you watch. Peace out.